Hello, friends. My name's host Eric. I'm the host talking to French people. I wanted to talk today with you about a very important subject, namely your oncoming puberty. Puberty is a special time. That's not really what I don't really want to talk about puberty. What I want to talk about today is a notion I had that here's how you're best at your fourth slot function. So you see, everybody's fourth slot function is the opposite aspect of their dominant. In other words, I'm metaphysical dominant, then my fourth slot function will be physical. That's true for perceivers only, actually. I'm sorry, I need to correct this. So let me say how you are best at your fourth slot for perceivers and your third slot for judgers, okay? Because judgers have the same first and fourth axis. So for perceivers anyway, how are you best at your fourth slot? So it's like this. SI is a personal knowledge function, but it's not designed to really keep track of the kind of things that are useful for me to keep track of, namely ideas that I pull from various things that I read and encounter. Little nuggets of argumentation or other factoids that are often, in terms of my memory, not particularly linked to anything that I did in that moment. So in other words, I don't necessarily remember where I was when I read that. It doesn't matter, you know?
Yeah.
Hi, email anthrax. So the thing is, among people who use SI to collect, SI is a resource accumulation function, a resource archiving and management function. Normally, those resources are your experiences, and that includes what you did before and also what you're experiencing right now. So the thing is, it can also keep track of metaphysical objects like ideas, arguments, notions that I've encountered, etc. And that's what the ENFP and ENFP are best at SI at. So in other words, we're best at using our fourth function for things it's not intended to do. Everybody is that or for their third. For your third function, if you're an INFP, for example, your third function is SI. Now, if you're an INFP, see, this only works for perceiving types, I guess, what I'm saying. It really only works for perceiving types. So I don't know what to tell you, judges, but this is true for perceivers, okay? It makes sense. Each perceiving type is going to be the best at using their fourth slot function for what it's not supposed to be used for.
Mm-hmm.
That means that Rachel's going to be best at using extroverted sensing to, I guess, relieve her of intuition.
Mm-hmm.
Extroverted sensing is supposed to be constrained by intuition. So, in other words, it's using it for the opposite thing that it's supposed to be used for. SI. I'm best at using it to keep track of things that aren't experiential, but it's meant to be used to keep track of things that are experiential.
Yeah.
Let's see, what's another perceiving type? SI DOMs. They're the best at using extroverted intuition to like manage shit in their own life, I guess, like in their own experience.
Yeah.
Did the stream stop or just your phone? Just your phone, I believe. And I haven't read your email yet, your Huckleberry, but I saw that I received one. So I will read it. I had a weird, unusual occurrence, which is there was a sleepy day between starting a bottle of amphetamines and resuming it. So I did a couple of amphetamines then. You're the best at using SE to alleviate the burdens of intuition when it's supposed to be used to execute the vision of intuition. But if you're all intuitive vision, then you're going to use it instead to relieve that. They're best at any for worrying about a bunch of useless shit. Joseph House, you've corrected me. That's exactly right. That's what any is not supposed to be used for. It is not supposed to be used for worrying about a bunch of useless shit.
No,
It's supposed to be assuming that things are going to, nothing's going to go so catastrophically wrong. So any of these possible ideas are possible, right?
And I've learned that.
You are in the woods at the moment, in fact. Well, then, Sean Ryan Barron, you are not right now using your SE in the best way that's not intended to be used possible. And the reason for that is because you are currently engaging in ideation with me while in the woods instead of looking at the trees. You're supposed to be looking at the trees, not at your phone, Sean Ryan Barron, not at your phone. Don't make me use this voice on you.
Uh-oh.
Okay?
That's what it was about. It was about crossed arms.
Oh, yeah, right. Don't make me cross my arms. Don't make me cross my arms. I'm going to cross them. I got one arm ready to cross.
You know what that means.
Because, if my prescription hadn't come in today, approximately when it did, I was going to have to go down to the pharmacy. I told Rachel what I was going to do. I'm going to walk right in there. I'm going to cross my arms. Then they know they're in trouble. I'm bringing the other arm up.
Ooh.
You don't want to face that.
Ooh, no.
All right, pharmacy people.
Look at that.
Do I look like a happy customer? It's funny when I'm not mad, I just think that whole way of being is ridiculous. But when I am mad, I'm just feeling it like, oh, the fuck you will. And if I were to watch myself in that moment, I'd be like, oh, Eric, you're so ridiculous.
Yeah, but you know what? I have to say, as body language, goes, that's a really good way of using body language to let someone know they are in trouble.
Mm-hmm. Here's how you know you're not in any trouble. If somebody's standing arms akimbo like this. If somebody's standing like this.
You're not in trouble?
You're not in trouble. Anyway, I'm standing like their hands backwards with their arms. Yeah. You know you're not in any trouble. Nobody who's mad at you stands like that. I've kind of been away for a year or so. What type is Rachel? INFJ. Yeah, I got one. I got one of those magical INFJ types.
Mm-hmm. And I got the magical ENTP.
You did get an ENTP, but we don't have that reputation that you guys have for being the special type.
Well, I didn't even know I was.
Yeah, she didn't know what she was. I typed her. That's the first conversation we had, right?
First conversation we had
was me typing her. I typed her wrong. I typed her as ENFJ. But I did the best I could at the time with the information I had.
Yes, and I actually, with the time that we had, and I was satisfied enough. It made more sense than what I had previously been typed as. So
Rachel's not just a client; she's my girlfriend.
Yep. So I can confirm that he is definitely the best typologist.
No, she started off ENFP, which is to say that's what other tests had told her.
Correct.
She didn't believe those tests. She didn't resonate with ENFP at all. Was confused by that. When I typed her as ENFJ with a qualifier. Like, I'm not 100% sure here because you might, but so yeah, she went from ENFP to ENFJ to INFJ.
Yeah.
But she's definitely not an ENFP. I mean, the thing is, maybe for a moment or two, I considered it when I first started typing her, but pretty quick, I think we concluded that you weren't an ENFP.
Yeah.
The longer she's been with me, the more obvious it is, like how I could have ever thought she was anything but an INFJs. I'm not sure because.
Well, I did give a bunch of
Arm foldings
during ENFJ talk.
Oh yeah,
It started to get that way because I was like,
whenever I'd mentioned
really,
some quality
really
of ENFJ or something, she'd be
Yeah.
like, I don't know. What gave it away ultimately was her SI was too good. She's not an ENFJ because her SI is not polar.
I remember the moment so well. It was like a light bulb for both of us.
The thing is, I had been working towards that for a while, but I didn't want to. I wanted to make sure that if I was going to tell her my initial typing was wrong, that there is no way that I was going to be wrong on the second time. So I waited for a while before. I was pretty confident before, but I wanted something definitive to really lock it in for me before I mentioned anything.
And I had to actually learn about INFJs, and the cognitive functions and being TE polar to really be like, oh my gosh, that is my life. Like, that makes so much sense. My ontology felt like I was reading a page about myself in a book.
For an INFJ, I think it's very important for them to have universal understandings of self to link back to their own personal understandings of self, because they are actually SI 8th slot, which means it kind of in service of their NI all the time. So what about 4th slot TE? Well, here's the thing about that. My notion here, which I only thought out halfway, I didn't think about the judgers, is that because the 4th slot function for perceivers is the other aspect. In other words, my dominant's metaphysical, my 4th slot's physical. But I use SI all the time in almost everything I do, which is to say I'm always drawing from past reference points, past examples, things I already know, to generate this new thing called, I guess, repositioning, restating, recontextualizing, and otherwise representing existing ideas, sometimes building onto the existing ideas. But of course, if you're building a complex model of ideas, then you don't start anew all the time, and you continue to build up what's the core thing there, and at some point, presumably, you finish it, right?
Yeah.
So for me, most of the ideation is done with cognitive functions. Occasionally, I'll have some interesting new idea, like this one I thought today would be a good topic. The idea that because your 4th slot function is the opposite aspect, you're going to be really good at using it how it's not supposed to be used. In other words, to serve your dominant. But for 4th slot TE, their dominant is FI. So it's the same thing. It's a physical aspect. And for like an INFP, they're all physical except for the second function. So I don't know how to apply this notion to that at all. It doesn't seem to apply.
Yeah.
And so I don't have nothing. I don't really have anything to say about 4th slot TE in regard to this notion. Did we like the movie Wet Hot American Summer? I absolutely loved it.
I'm so glad.
It was the funniest movie I've seen in a long time.
It
was hilarious.
Yeah.
It was absolutely hilarious. Maybe the funniest scene I've seen in 20 years or something is the scene where there's the lady goes to teach arts and crafts, and there's one crayon in the box, and there's a big box of all different colors of markers there. And she says, "Okay, today we're using crayons." And it's just they start working on it, and then the kid goes. Yeah, the kids acting in that scene is brilliant too. The kids, the woman, everything.
Everything.
I laughed so hard at that scene when the kid's trying to explain to the teacher, like, we should use the markers.
They're like, the kid's like, there's a whole array of colors. Why can we only use the brown?
It's one red crayon. The kid very occasionally goes like, okay, it's red. There's one crayon. There was a section, like, I would have given that movie, if it had been as good as it was for 80% of it all the way through, I would have given that movie a 10. As it is, I give it a 9.
I'm happy.
Because there's about 20% of it where, maybe 15% of it, where it goes a little over the top and loses me. And I tell you, the storyline that doesn't really work for me is the Skylab nerd kids storyline. That one, when they say, oh, there's a piece of Skylab's going to fall and we've got to move it. that part didn't work for me. The whole rest of the movie worked beautifully.
Okay, cool.
The
It is so funny.
when the kids are about to go over Devil's Falls, they're going like, slow down the river.
So funny. I actually forgot about that part too. So like seeing it again with you was great. We were like cracking up. I'm sure the whole
you never watched Talking to Famous People from your desktop? That is such a generational thing. Thanks,
Thanks,
Lightbulb.
where's my light bulb?
I will talk about those forethought things, Lightbulb, but you must have just gotten here because, as I explained, I didn't quite fully think this through. It applies to all the perceivers, but it doesn't apply to the judgers.
Correct.
So, like, if you've got an ESTJ, they are TE Dom, that's physical. They are FI fourth, that's also physical. So, my idea here is that for, say, an INFJ, SE is supposed to be the way to execute intuition, the way to turn your intuition into stuff you do. For an INFJ, they're best at using SE to relieve intuition, to get away from, get out of their head and stuff. That's exactly not what it's designed to do, but they're the best at using it for what it's not designed to do. Same with SI and the ENTP. SI is designed to keep track of your personal experiences and how you feel with your body and stuff. Instead, the ENTP uses it to keep track of random factoids, little bits of argumentation they find places, and that links not at all to my experience. I don't remember where I was when I heard that or read that, probably sitting in front of my computer, Doesn't really matter where I was. So the problem is I didn't think this through before I started it because I only thought, well, it works for ENTP and INFJ. I guess it works for everybody.
But the original title was supposed to be about arm crossing and how.
Don't make me cross my arms.
Yes, don't make me cross my arms.
Yeah. Once I got in here and somebody asked about, do INFP, I was like, oh, okay, well, oh, wait, it doesn't work. You want to tell them mine right here?
Oh, sure.
You're out.
Yeah, thank you.
FE4, same thing. Okay, Cassie, am I going to have to do this all string along? Unfortunately, it doesn't work for judges. It only works for perceivers because the idea is that the aspects are different. So FI people use 4-slot TE. Well, okay, I guess, it still sort of does work in the sense that TE is supposed to be how you solve problems yourself. 4-slot TE is looking to defer to others for directions. It's like, an INFP or an ISFP is going to be happy to be told how to do things. Mm-hmm. They don't want to figure it out themselves. That's not what TE is. TE is figuring out yourself, not turning to other people for a solution. And so in that regard, it does work that way.
I've noticed that ISFP tarot readers like to do polls on what type of readings to do next.
I gotta comment on this joke right there. It's a great joke, Nicholas Watson.
Do it.
Tell a woman she's beautiful 1,000 times. She doesn't remember. Tell her she's fat once. She never forgets because elephants never forget.
Oh, burn!
That's a great joke, Nicholas Watson.
That is a really great joke. Oh my gosh. Oh, that's one to make your mom blush.
Could you make that up here? That's occasionally I hear a really great joke around here. Almost always they heard it someplace, which is not. There's no shame in that. It's great. It's great to share a good joke you heard someplace. This one time somebody said this joke that they heard in a movie, but it's a movie nobody's ever seen. I guess it goes. I don't see why people always complain about roofie sex. You get laid and a good night's sleep.
That's funny. The one joke that I know is from I got from Alexa, Amazon Alexa. I asked her a joke and it stuck with me because it was about ghosts.
What is it?
Where do ghosts train for the Olympics? Lake Erie.
Oh, Lake Erie. That is so appropriate because eerie is what ghosts like. They're into that.
Right? It's so cute.
Too soon? Too soon for Beirut jokes? Apparently,
Oh,
it's
no.
too soon for Highland clearance jokes. I don't know if you guys are aware of this, but if you're an FI Dom, it's too soon for jokes about the clearing of the Highlands in Scotland hundreds of years ago. I hurt one of the Scots' feelings the other day, joking about the decimation of her people.
Facts.
Even though I myself was a Highlander, that was my middle school mascot. I mean,
He knew more.
how does SI overwhelm ENTP and ENFP? I don't know if it overwhelms us. What happens is avoiding it overwhelms us, or continually trying to use it as it's not supposed to be used overwhelms us. In other words, I can sit here and continue to collect factoids on the internet, but have to pee really bad, you know? So it eventually it forces us to pay attention to what in the ways it wants to be used rather than the way it's most naturally used, rather than the way it's less naturally used.
You know, it's interesting. Can I make an observation that I've noticed with my dad with Fourth Slot SI? When he's not feeling good, like say there's a conflict in his life, an emotional one, the SI just goes out the window. Like no showers.
Well, I think when you're locked in your 1-2, if you're allowed to comfortably stay in your 1-2, you will. And typically life forces you not to. So, you know, if as an ENTP, I would have been able to be successful just being a dick all the time. If I, in other words, if YouTube had trained me to be, what was that guy's name? Sargon of Akkad or something like that. You guys know what I'm talking about? Sargon. If YouTube had trained me to be like him, in other words, if YouTube had said, here's reward for finding clips of people saying stupid shit and then launching into tirades of abuse about them and their lack of logic, then that is something that I might have ended up manifesting. Probably not with such wanton like zeal as Sargon did. And maybe I still would have been slave to my 7 play and not end up doing the same thing over and over again. But I suspect if YouTube had structured the reward schedule, so to speak, like if making one of those videos had gotten a lot of success, making another one had doubled that and then doubled that, I would have been like, okay, well, fine, this is what I'm doing. You know, it's like if it had trained me enough to be that douchebag, then I might very well turn out to be that douchebag as well. But of course, to do that, you have to ignore the critical comments. There are always going to be FI people who come and comment on my stuff and talk to me and keep me in check because I'm open to those critiques. You got to be open to those critiques. If you're going to astroturf your life, you're going to surround yourself by people who tell you what you want to hear. Yes, I do think it shows up similarly for NI and ESF and TPs, which is to say, you're supposed to use NI to guide your actions. Like, if you look at say an ENTJ, that's how NI is supposed to be used. You use your NI tool function to know the best course of action, and then you execute that course of action to attain results that are defined by your goals in TE, which therefore satisfy your wants, which are lowest priority but still present. That's sort of a solvency-based how to kill life strategy, and that's your ENTJ. But if you want to kill life, you kind of also got to kill yourself. So it means you got polar SI.
Good explanation for that.
Yeah, but to finish answering the question, because I got a little sidetracked, Cass M, or I got a little tangential, I guess I should say. is for when it's in the fourth slot, it's like it's not directing their course of action. It's the thing that they turn to when the wildness of the opportunism of SE ceases to serve their needs. If I can no longer improvise with new shit out of a problem, then I'm gonna have to turn to old and tried solutions. For an SE Dom, if they can no longer, if the SE no longer works, like for Trump, for example, if it's no longer working to just keep kicking the anthill and causing reactivity to sort of disable your opposition and allow you to move forward unimpeded, then you're going to have to turn to some singular truths and stick to some single paths and defend them. It often plays out though as well, like in ESFPs, it doesn't play out well because ESFPs will have that singularity about themselves and who they are rather than about what they have to do. That's another way in which I guess NI is misapplied there. You don't use NI ideally to know who you are. You use SI and FI to know who you are. But for somebody who is an SE Dom, they use NI to know who they are. And if you're an SE Dom with FI, you use it very poorly to know who you are, which is why there's a person called Brittany, who's an ESFP. Now, she insisted she was an ENTP for years. And finally, in sort of a moment of grand compassion and decision to prioritize FI over TI, I said, you know what, Brittany, you win. You can call yourself an ENTP if you want. I will not disagree with you. I just won't disagree with you ever again. I can see the point. I'm not going to agree with you, and I won't disagree with you. So what happens when I finally see her again a couple months later? Now she calls herself female INTP.
That's misleading because she puts out a lot of videos about female ENTPs.
If that was misleading too, she's an ESFP. She's applying NI, thinking that I can use universals to define who I am, regardless of my experiential data. So NI is part of identity. If you're a dominant person like Rachel, you use external universals to understand yourself, but they need to be consistent with your personal data, right? So Rachel understands who she is in a relationship between SI data and NI truths. She recognizes SI data and wants them to be explained by NI reasons. That's a good way of managing ontology. It is not a good way to manage ontology to say, here's an NI idea I like, and therefore I'm going to claim it as my being. So if you are INTP female, that is to say it's totally an aspirational thing. Brittany perceives herself as very intelligent and reads type descriptions of INTPs as like most intelligent type. And so she decides that she's an INTP, right? Because she wants to affirm her own intelligence. That's using NI wrong. It's not incorporating the personal data or any kind of objective data at all. It's just what she wants to be the case.
Yeah. It's like Cloud, too, changing his gender all the time on
his type. His type not really his gender that much, but
he said he changed his gender
once or twice.
Because
so the thing is, but he's always changing his type, and he's always coming in with a new permanent declarative truth that just changes the next day.
That
from now on, everything is blah. Oh, from now on, everything is meow. From now on, everything is yeah. It's like he doesn't remember or recall that yesterday he said the opposite thing. That's ignoring SI, fourth slot NI. How does fourth slot FI use wrong? Well, FI is supposed to drive what it is that you are. In other words, TE is supposed to be the way to achieve what you want. You're not supposed to care about how you're achieving what you want more than what you want, right? So it's like TE Dom is a solution in search of a problem. And in that sense, it's a category error in the same way that it is for ENTP, INFJ, and everybody else with their fourth slot function, I guess. Because it does work for genders. It's just not so much of an aspect thing like I thought it was. I have a ESFP friend who told me for years he was destined to be a biology major, then dropped it for accounting and actuarial science, and says that's his destiny now. And if you were to mention that before he said the other thing, he'd say, yes, but I've had an epiphany. ESFPs have a plethora of epiphanies, none of which are actually epiphanies.
Like,
how is your wall of text being completely ignored? I mean, I don't know. I don't read every single thing or respond to every single thing that's typed. Your wall of text is way up there. So I've been up and down all over the place with MBTI, and my latest thought, which is why I actually tuned in to this tonight, is that ENFPs and INFJs can be easily mixed up if they're extremely close to the middle and somewhat flipping in between. There's no such thing as being close to the middle or somewhat flipping in between. It's not true that people are in the shadow. That's a bullshit idea. But the fact that it works subconsciously doesn't mean it doesn't work extremely well. And my understanding is this idea completely illogical. It is not the case that it is the case that you can mistake ENFPs and INFJs potentially. And the reason is because dominant NE is a dominant intuitive. And intuitives share a quality of being intuitive. For example, Rachel and I both perform equally well on this thing called the remote associations test, which is basically an intuitive test. If you do poorly on the remote associations test, you're probably not an intuitive. You're probably a sensor. So I'll link that test right now, by the way. Although I will say, this test maybe doesn't apply to ENTJs and ENFJs as much. Probably applies more to ENFJs. ENTJs may not perform so well on this test. The reason I say that is because it's because their intuition is tool. It serves TE. They're countervaluing language-based intuition stuff with their 6-slot NE. So ENTJs may not perform well on this test, but other intuitives will. What does perform well mean? Well, perform well means you get almost all the very easy ones, but not quite all. Sometimes one will just throw you. You get most of the easy ones. You'll get half or so of the medium ones, maybe a third of the hard ones, and maybe 1 out of 5 of the very hard ones. That's what doing well on it means.
Well, what about Chilo? Chilo did pretty good on the test.
Yeah, Chilo would have tested probably as a intuitive, but she's an ISTP. The thing is, it's that 3rd slot NI that the thing about that is the remote associations test seems to require good NI, but it also seems to require I guess a language frame of some sort. ISTPs have a language frame with TI, and that's why I'm thinking maybe ENTJs aren't going to do so well. INTJs probably do well anyway, I'm guessing. I don't know how INTJs do on this test. What's interesting is that people who are backslot NE perform well on this test usually and poorly on Inky Pinky test. Inky Pinky test seems to be the best test possible for ENTP, INTP. Maybe INFP, ENFP as well, I think. I'm not sure. But how does a person engage their 4th slot SE? Well, if you have 4th slot SE, you engage it by simply going for a bike ride, going for a walk, maybe playing a sport, or working out at the gym, or just going on a road trip. Cleaning is a good SE execution of SI. So if you're cleaning and your 4th slot SE, you're engaging both your 4th and 8th slot functions, which is usually a good way to feel like you're balancing yourself and being healthy. Mm-hmm. Everybody feels more balanced and healthy when they're more active with their 4th and 8th slot functions in general. Okay, I'm not very good at explaining my thought process. What I do mean is kind of what you said. If you're an intuitive, you probably work on that internally and externally. If you're stronger in one place, you'll use combination functions to reach better understanding your fourth function. What I would say also about your ENFP INFJ thing is the reason it's plausible to mistake them is ENFPs have demonstrative FE, 6th slot, which is more effective amongst intuitives than the 6th slot FE of an ESFP. Substantially more effective. So it's still, in my opinion, it's countervalued. So when you need FE, ENFPs typically don't provide it. But the reason it's conceivable to mistake the two is because they're both intuitive. They both also have a feeling function as a tool function and a feeling function as demonstrative. So since demonstrative function looks like tool to the external world at first, it's easy enough to mistake them. You don't put in an answer. Oh, do you? Well, what did you put? Email answer. Some of them there might be a correct answer that they don't have in there. Which one do you think is correct that it says is wrong? Well, ESFPs and ENFPs both have FI tool function. And so what I'm saying is that the reason INFJs aren't mistaken for ESFPs, but might be mistaken for ENFPs, is because the demonstrative FE plays out differently in ENFPs than ESFPs. Well, you don't have to type in the answer. You just say what the answer is to yourself and push show. And if you're right, you're right. And if you're not, you're not. You know? It doesn't keep track of your answers for you.
Yeah.
Social anxiety, please, a solution for social anxiety. I mean, look, social anxiety is, I think, largely a term that's used to describe people who, I guess, don't feel confident or who don't like to engage in social groups. Like, let's say you think you have social anxiety, Rath or Ricky. Well, in my opinion, you clearly don't. You're here socializing very successfully, engaging with everybody here successfully. There's no indication of social anxiety from you by your behavior here. So my first thought would be, maybe this is some sort of ontology limiter that you've internalized, because if it only applies in live action settings and not in this kind of setting, then it's quite possible that you're more well suited to socialize in this setting, and it's silly to try to force yourself to socialize in some other setting instead if you can avoid it. Now, if it's something you can't avoid doing and you need to do it better for practical reasons, that's certainly something I can understand. And my answer to how do you solve social anxiety would be you just ask questions and err on the side of silence in general. You know, as long as you're asking questions, people won't think you're rude. And if you err on the side of silence, people won't think you said something wrong. How do you work on your 4th slot TE as an INFP? Well, see, that's the thing, is you're already best at using TE for what it's not designed to be used for, which is you are well suited to use your wiles as an FI Dom to get other people to tell you how to do things you need to do. You feel good if you have control over the destination and somebody else has control over the path.
That makes sense.
So if you can get yourself in that situation, then you don't need to deal with your 4th slot TE. Now, granted, we all do tend to avoid our 4th and 8th slots. So there are times when we need to, just for a matter of sort of balancing our being, we need to engage in our 4th and 8th slot functions. That means, for me, it might mean cleaning, organizing, things like that. It might even mean like going through my email, which is not in its native aspect exactly. That's sort of the metaphysical aspect of SI, but still an SE thing. something I tend to avoid. Well, there's legwork I got to do called going through my emails and responding to them and stuff like that. But yeah, if you're trying to force yourself to go engage socially in places where you don't want to engage socially, then my question would be why? If you have to go engage socially for practical reasons, then that answers the question why. And the answer is going with a specific strategy. Ask questions, and specifically ask questions to people about what those people are interested in. If you know some guy's into physics, ask him some physics questions. Mm-hmm. If you know some guy's into cooking, ask him some questions about cooking. And then you don't have to carry any burden of the socializing. If you find extroverts and ask them questions, they will probably talk to you about that thing. If you find an ESTJ and ask them about things they're interested in, they will not even let you talk. So you don't have to worry about it.
That's true. That's what I've learned.
They will, and when you do say something, they'll just continue on as though you had said nothing. Anyway, I don't know why you think you need to chime in on this, but back to what I was saying. Well, what I said was directly responsive to what you were saying. Why are you responding, though? I'm lecturing, you're listening.
Oh. That's like one of the biggest things that I've learned. It's such a huge thing to learn for an INFJ. Sit back and let them talk.
Rather, Vicky, you say, I fear that people are criticizing you within themselves. You're right. And they're criticizing everybody else, and they're criticizing themselves. What I'm saying is, if you take my advice, they won't be criticizing you. They'll be talking about themselves. And then when you walk away, since they've done all the action, they'll be wondering whether you're criticizing them. Everybody does that shit. So you're not alone, and it's not anything to be scared of, because you got to remember, since you're probably quieter than a lot of people, you're probably subject to a lot less of that kind of FE, can you believe that guy shit than most people are. I tell you what, if you like if you ever come to like a meetup that we're having or something, Ralph or Vicky, and I see you there, I will come and make real your fear, and therefore you won't fear it anymore. I'll come over and be like, do you know how ridiculous you look? Everybody is thinking about, why are you here? And why are you acting like that? Can I believe this guy? Jesus Christ. And then you realize, oh, it's not really that bad. I get that shit all the time, you know.
Sure you do.
When am I going to get to read the mean comments about my videos? Oh, your Huckleberry? I will put those up. Yeah, totally. Is that what your email said? I haven't read your email yet. So if your email says go ahead and edit and put them up, then I will. I don't think you're going to get a lot of mean comments. I have a lot of respect for you, because what I see is somebody who is trying to reconcile with aspects of self that are comfortable, but that you view them as reserving your attention in terms of optimization. And I respect that. It's like, you and I have been at odds a lot. And, you're brave enough to take seriously things that aren't consistent with your FI. I appreciate that. Please do that to me. It will probably make me laugh and loosen me up. Please do that to me. Oh, do that to you. Okay, yeah, I'll do that to everybody. I'm coming with a whole bunch of like, oh, your eyes look naturally intoxicated. Ralph or Vicky, are you drunk? Are you high? What's wrong with you? I'll make you all paranoid, right? Then I'll smoke this joint. Now are you high? I hope so. Which reminds me.
That is a good reminder.
So the other day, Rachel and I bought 2 of these replacement bowls for the bong at the head shop, and it cost $40. Okay, $40 for 2 of them.
Yeah.
And I was just tired of replacing these things, $20 a pop, because that's the price for them in both the places near my house.
Yeah.
So I went on Amazon and I get 4 or 2?
I think 4.
4 for $14.
Yeah, 2 for both of us.
So yeah, that's much better price. When this one breaks,
Exactly.
by the time this one breaks, they'll come. It takes a while to get here, even though I got free shipping.
Free shipping?
So, but
yeah, you know what? It's free shipping.
It's not going to be here till the 9th of August, I think. What's the date today?
Today's the 5th.
5th, 8th of August. Does one have to be talking to use any? No. And most of the ideation that I do occurs when I'm not speaking out loud, and then I bring it to the live streams and talk about it. So I spend a fair amount of time sort of saying in my head, practicing what I'm going to say on a live stream. If something I'm going to do or say isn't going to be public, I probably don't spend much time thinking about it, which is strange. But I guess that's FI polar and FE third and NI fifth. It's my values are universal. My values are socially universal. They are communicatively, holistically universal, and they are creatively universal. So I guess that's why I do that. Most of the time, obviously, if I'm not talking out loud, I'm still thinking words in my head. Like, for example, even when I'm consuming media, a lot of times I'm thinking about things at the same time. Earlier, we were watching the extremely powerfully entertaining and good.
Oh my god, it's so great.
Two Towers, the second of the Fellowship of the Rings movies. The first one kind of bored me a little bit yesterday, but I think that's because I've seen it too many times.
I liked it. I like it a lot. I think it's going to be a good trilogy.
But the second one, man, that's what you call a dehydrator, because at least half of the movie I had tears streaming down.
And I'm seriously TLCing because I was so emotionally gripped.
It was quite gripping.
Yes. I was like, oh my god. Like my body tenses up when I feel things.
Yeah. Any is good at essays and other tasks, language, and debate. Would SC Doms be bad at writing essays, or are there any tasks with an 8th slot? No. It would be something that they do when they have to successfully, and that they don't choose to do when they don't have to. That's how it is with me and SE. When circumstances require me to do shit in order for myself to be realized, as to say, in order for my ideation to be meaningful, I have to start a live stream and say words out loud to other people. Otherwise, it's not meaningful to me because I'm not an FI user. What part made me cry? Well, Lawnmower, the same. Okay, the number one thing that makes me cry is instances of dogged persistence in the face of adversity, and the speeches that go along with that. It gets me right here, here and right here. It's the mucus running down my nose and the tears running down my eyes. It happens when I watch ESPN sometimes. When there used to be sports and I'd watch ESPN, and there'd be some sort of like story about an underdog team that didn't give up or whatever. By the end of it, just that always gets me. But then also filial relationships get me. Like, when the king realizes his son has been dead while he's been under the enchantment of Wormtongue.
Mm-hmm.
With the Hobbit speeches don't get me so much, but Sam's speech got me better than Pippin's does. Sam at the end? Yeah, that was pretty effective.
God, that was such a great speech.
Other things but here's one of the things I was thinking of watching that. So there's this scene where the hobbits roll down this hill, okay, and there are these bad guys marching by that are people. They're not orcs, but they're aligned with Sauron, and they're bad guys, and they have elephants the people with elephants, but they don't have elephants in the scene. Anyway, they're marching by, and they're outside the black gates of Mordor, and they roll down a hill, and the guys come over to try to investigate. And when they look at them, they look just like boulders. And then after they go away, they take their cloaks off, and they realize that the cloaks made them look like boulders. And then Sam says, I don't think even with these elvish cloaks, we're going to be able to get in past those black gates of Mordor. And I realized, okay, there had to be a scene that set up ahead of time that these cloaks were magical and made them look like boulders that they cut out of the movie. And so it's like I'm thinking things like that as I'm watching the movies all the time too. So do you have to speak out loud to do extroverted intuition? No. But for me, the extroverted intuition, if it's worth anything, will probably get spoken out loud. So after I was thinking that during the movie, I talked about it with Rachel in the car when we went to get my prescription from the pharmacy.
Yeah, I like it.
So,
I'm talking to you about like the movies and television and music.
Yeah, we had also a conversation about whether Aragorn is well cast. See, as I'm watching, I was also thinking, okay, there's certain things about Aragorn seems like he's not terribly cast, but everybody in that movie is so well cast. And there's so many good actors in there that I just don't think. I think Aragorn it was the one mistake. His accent is sort of, what is his accent? I'm not sure. And he doesn't have the vibe of a king or a real, this archetype of the king who's lost his land, or the king who is distancing himself from his throne to attend to other matters, is an archetype that occurs in all these sort of fantasy stories. And I just don't think Aragorn, the actor, manifests that archetype very well. And so he's the one actor in the only reason I even mention it's not because he does such a bad job that it pulls me out of the movie. That's not the case. But it's just that everybody else is so good. Like the scene when Gandalf appears in the forest, and they think he's Saruman, and they try to attack him, and he knocks away their swords and arrows and stuff. And then they realize it's Gandalf, and he's come back from fighting the Balrog, and now he's Gandalf the White. And they say to Gandalf what his name is. And the the actor who plays Gandalf, that scene where you see his face reveal his facial expression reveal that he recognizes the name, and oh yeah, it's him. He used to be called Gandalf, but now he's Gandalf. And he tells this whole story with just his facial expression in about 5 seconds. It's amazing. Yeah. That guy is an amazing actor.
He is. He's really good friends with the guy who plays Professor X on the old.
Patrick Stewart?
Yeah.
I know Patrick Stewart from Star Trek Enterprise.
Yeah, from Star Trek. They're really good friends in real life.
Well, Arthur, Vicky, this is the sort of question I get a lot. Who do you think is good on YouTube about MBTI personality, except for beyond myself? Well, the answer is being an MBTI YouTuber means I don't watch much YouTube. I certainly don't watch other MBTI YouTubers. If I do watch them, I'm probably going to get either mad because they said something wrong, or I'm going to make a video saying, oh, they were right about this is a good idea, or something like this. Ian McKellen is a gay?
Ian McKellen, that's it. That's his name, Ian McKellen.
He's a homosexual?
That's the...
All right. If ever I'm going to go gay, I choose Ian McKellen as the one who takes me there, okay? For example, Rachel, if for some reason the Dark Lord comes and forces us each to choose a gay lover, I'll pick Ian McKellen, and you can pick whoever you want. I won't be jealous.
Pick Patrick Stewart.
That's not a gay lover.
I'm pretty sure that's what.
No. Gay for you. Gay for you, Rachel. You don't get to pick a dude.
Oh.
That's why I have to pick a dude.
Okay, so I have to pick a girl.
Yeah, you have to pick a girl. If the Dark Lord comes and forces us to take a gay lover at gunpoint, I'm going to choose Ian McKellen.
I'm going to choose Kerry Russell.
Kerry Russell. I don't even know who that is, but.
Yeah.
And probably Ian and Kerry will become friends because we can quadruple date or double date. Yeah,
let's double date. She's an INTJ, if that means anything.
Well, actually, it would be a quadruple quadruple date. No, okay. Ian and Carrie need to get together too. Then it would be a quadruple date. Because
Yeah.
even though there'd be 4 people, there'd be 4 couples too. You see, it'd be me and Ian, me and Rachel and Carrie, and then Ian and Carrie need to get together as well. Eric will be on top or bottom. I plan to have sex with Ian McKellen standing up. So the question is moot. Carrie Russell triggers me on bad acting. Do you think Carrie Russell is a good actress or a bad actress, Rachel?
Good actress. That's why I like her.
Eric's a power bottom? What's a power bottom?
Yeah, what is that?
Who's Galadriel in real life again? Who's Galadriel? I don't even know who Galadriel is as a character. The name doesn't sound familiar. What's the elf's name? Legolas. And okay, Ethan McDonald, you can't choose a female. You have to pick a gay lover.
Cat.
The deep voiced elf queen. Oh, okay. Yeah, I know the deep voiced elf queen. You mean what actress plays that lady? I don't know.
I do. It'll come to me.
Please Google power bottom. I don't know if I want it.
Kate Blanchett. Boom.
Kate Blanchett.
Yes. She's good in it. She's good as Queen Elizabeth too in the Elizabeth movies. Just personal opinion.
Power bottom refers to those bottoms who, not content to simply let the top do all of the work, instead take on a more aggressive and controlling manner. Power bottom. It's such a funny term, power bottom. It sounds like, somebody's got like a superpower related to their butt.
Yeah, it does.
Hollywood needs more gingers. Well, they have Ginger Spice.
Yeah, they have Ginger Spice, plus they have all those Weasleys.
That's a lot of Weasleys. That's a lot of red hair.
Yeah, that's a lot of red hair.
Don't forget Carrot Top, Hollywood's most successful redhead. He's still performing in Vegas, And there's nothing better than prop comedy. Remember Ambiguously Gay Duo? No, it sounds funny.
It is funny.
Ambiguously
I haven't
Gay
seen
Duo.
that in so long.
Even if I were gay, I still wouldn't have anal. It's like it's still not a good idea. It's still not sanitary.
No.
Ambiguously Gay Duo?
It's really funny.
The Ambiguously Gay Duo is an American animated comedy sketch that debuted on the Dana Carvey show before moving to his permanent home on Saturday Night Live. Huh.
Yeah.
Funny.
Oh, I didn't know the other voice was Steve Carell. That is very funny.
So what other redheads are there in Hollywood? Well, there's Tom Cruise's first wife.
Yes.
What's her name?
She's a ginger. Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman, right?
Mhm.
There's
Do cartoons count?
Ron Howard.
Ron Howard. Do cartoons count?
Cartoons might count.
There's Jessica Rabbit. She's a very
Mm.
popular redhead. And also the girl from Brave, the Disney movie.
What about the
Emma Stone. Yeah, she's a thank you, Ethan McDonald. She is a popular redhead. Ginger Rogers.
See, I just know that Ian McKellen will be a gentle lover. I can just tell.
He would be.
I'd ask him to do the scene,
You have to see
the
the
scene where he
bromance.
remembers his name
Can you
while
look at
making love to me.
romance? Can you-
Kirsten Dunst, redhead. She
No,
gives
she's
redheads a
not.
bad
She's
name.
blonde.
Oh, she's blonde?
She's blonde.
Let's Google who's a natural redhead in Hollywood. Who in Hollywood is a natural redhead?
Louis C.K.'s a redhead. In Hollywood.
I will admit my carpet matches my dress.
Oh yeah, Jessica Chastain.
Juliana Moore.
Yes, Julianne Moore.
Celebrities with naturally red hair. 11 celebrities you didn't know that were naturally red haired.
Yeah, Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman is a natural redhead. Benedict Cumberbatch.
Wow.
Doctor Strange. He looks so much better here than he does here, doesn't he?
Yeah.
Here it's like, what? What is? Are you being elfin or something?
I think he was though.
Laura Prepon.
Oh.
I don't know that person. Michael Fassbender.
He's Magneto.
Seth Green. Seth Green is a natural
Seth
redhead.
Green.
I remembered him. Catherine O'Hara. Oh, she's the lady who was in she's in a lot of stuff, huh?
Beetlejuice.
Beetlejuice.
Yeah.
Yeah, she's in
She's
Beetlejuice.
also in Home Alone. She's the mom in Home Alone.
Oh yeah, it says right there. I want Beetlejuice. Ewan McGregor, redhead, natural redhead. Bridget Regan, never heard of her.
Me neither.
Lucas Hedges, never heard of him either. Honey Boy, he was in Honey Boy. Charles Dance, they are really struggling for famous people, aren't they? Noel Fisher, Shameless. Huh. Well,
They missed out on some people though.
famous
you
ginger.
didn't
Let me just
know.
Google famous gingers. Famous gingers. Prince Harry,
Oh yeah, he's a huge famous ginger.
Jessica Chastain, Conan O'Brien. Yeah, here's a couple of redheads that I don't like. I don't like Conan O'Brien. I don't think he's funny.
Me
And
neither.
I don't like Kathy Griffin. I don't think she's funny either.
She's mean.
Molly Ringwald,
Molly-
Adele, Ed
Oh,
Sheeran.
yeah.
Those are famous redheads.
Yeah.
Here's some famous redheads in history. Boudica, a Celtic queen, died in 60 AD. Alexander the Great was a redhead. Who knew? Queen Elizabeth, redhead. Winston Churchill, natural redhead. You think of him as having white hair, right?
Yeah.
That's because there were only black and white movies back then. Galileo, didn't know he was a redhead. General Custer, asshole and a redhead. George Bernard Shaw, Mark Twain was a redhead. Mary Magdalene, that's a biblical figure. Jesus' friend. No, I'm not talking about EJRND. Florence Nightingale. Lucille Ball, obviously a very famous redhead. Is Ian McKellen still alive?
That's a good question.
No, he's still alive. He was born in 1939. What year was my dad born in again?
37, I think.
37? Because he's 2 years younger than my dad. He certainly is a good actor.
Yeah, he is. He's both Gandalf and what's his name in Harry Potter?
Oh, Dumbledore?
Dumbledore, yeah.
Oh, he's the same guy who plays Gandalf and that plays Dumbledore?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. Are you sure about that?
I don't know.
Who played Dumbledore?
Oh,
It was Richard Harris.
Oh, my bad.
2 Dumbledores. Yeah, see, I knew we must be wrong because I knew either the person who played Dumbledore or the person who played Gandalf had died.
That's what I knew someone had died too.
All right, so it's
Oh.
Michael Gambon was the first Dumbledore,
Okay.
I think. Let's see. movies though. Okay, played by Richard Harris after Michael Gambon died, I think. Richard Harris. No, wait. He must have played Richard Harris first because his year's active 2002. It must have been Richard Harris died. Wait, is he dead?
Died?
Yeah, he's dead. So Richard Harris played him first, and then after Richard Harris died, Michael Gambon played him. Michael Gambon is still alive.
My bad.
But they look kind of similar,
They
so
do.
it's a perfectly
They look so
reasonable thing to
similar.
mistake. Hi, everybody. Sorry I've gotten so sidetracked there on figuring out who was dead and who was alive, but it is pretty important since we're going to be
Yeah.
relying on them to serve hors d'oeuvres.
Exactly. They are famous people.
Is the guy who played Thor a natural redhead?
I think he's blonde.
Lindsay Lohan is naturally redheaded?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. One of my favorite, or I guess I don't know, if one of my favorite, one Saturday Night Live skit that I'm fond of is when Lindsay Lohan plays Hermione.
Hermione.
Hermione's gotten boobs over the summer, and she comes back, and
That's so funny.
that's a funny one.
Yeah, it
I
is.
don't know if you guys have seen that or not, but
I like her in she's also in the Debbie Downer skit, and I really like that one too on SNL. Where they're at Disney.
that SNL hosting for Lindsay Lohan was probably like the pinnacle point of her career,
Mhm.
where she was killing it on all levels. She was still young and very attractive, and not thought of yet as this insanity bucket that she turned into. You know,
Yeah. I met her dad.
you met Lindsay Lohan's dad?
Yeah, he tipped me $80.
Wow,
Right?
nice.
Yeah.
Was he cool?
Yeah.
Did he want a sensual massage?
I don't know. No.
He didn't get one though. Huh?
No, he. Oh hell no. He was there with his girlfriend
Hmm.
at the time, and basically he paid me $80 not to say anything. Like,
'Cause
he
was he
going
married
there and
or
he
what?
was doing drugs.
Oh, he was doing drugs.
Yeah. So, and he had like a spot near the fireplace, and he wanted to keep it there for like a while. So, like, I let my boss know. I'm like, hey, like, Michael Lohan's here. He's gonna be spending money
Was it a restaurant or what?
at a restaurant. Yeah.
So was his girlfriend maybe not his official girlfriend or something?
It was,
Oh.
but like at the time they were going through like a divorce.
I see.
Yeah, so she was also in the news.
Now, in this case, Lawnmower, Rachel Silence speaks volumes about the fact that she's distracted playing Subway Surfer.
Yeah.
Actually, the slow pause was she hadn't quite processed what I was saying yet. And then she kind of tried to fake like she had heard it, and then I had to sort of provide some extra information to clarify for her, and then she.
I'm nodding my
And
head.
she's now nodding her head. Yes.
Thank you, baby.
I'd like to interview Scarlett Johansson. I'd like to find out if she's ENFJ or INFJ.
I think she's ENFJ.
That's what I think too. And the reason I think
Been
this,
married more than once.
well, I think she's ENFJ because of the way she dealt with the transgender character controversy. Do you remember that?
No.
They were going to make a movie about this transgender gender character who transitioned from male to female, and she had the lead role. And then, like, the identity police community made a big fuss about it, and that they should get a real trans person to play the trans person.
Oh.
And her statements about that are so Ni Tool Si Polar. Now she's right. I agree with her completely, but it's evident she was very confused by that because as an FE Dom, she wants to have the thing reach consensus and everybody be in agreement about it. As an NI tool user, she understands that this whole frame of reference of how to deal with these things is wrong because for her understanding of herself as a performer, this is an acting role like any other. She doesn't see it as linking to personal or individual experience at all. And then her tool function SE says, I want to do the role. I want to do the role. And then, lastly, her TI comes in and says, these are good reasons why she wants to do the role, but she's easily pushed around by the FE ultimately. So that's why I think she's an ENFJ.
Good reasoning.
You can never be woke enough for the intersexual political police. Well, the thing is, I am more woke than they. That's how I be woke enough. Okay? I will turn that bullshit on them every time. They are not woke enough. I'm transracial. After all, they're trying to put me in a box where I have to be one race only. They're cisracial. The cisracial attacks on me, that's what's wrong with society, okay? We're never going to get social justice until these cisracials stop attacking me for my transracialism, my fluid transracialism.
It's true.
They're also cis-ideational. They're insisting one idea is right when everybody knows all ideas are equally right. And no ideas are ever wrong. Scarlett's fan base of thirsty men made me stop liking her. I don't blame her though. She's a good actress,
She is a good actress.
I respect good actors and actresses because I am so impacted by bad acting. In other words, a movie can be great, and then one scene where the actor does a poor job and isn't believable will pull me right out of the story and right out of the whole thing.
Yeah, we should watch the movie Her.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
But the other thing is I want to figure out what that movie I was talking about last night with you is called. About the couple.
Oh, yeah, with Amy Poehler.
Yeah. I'd like to see that with you.
Yeah.
What are these things?
I'll keep her
I'll figure out what it's
in my
called.
catalog of things.
Lawnmower loves that Marvel shit brainwashed by Hollywood and Disney. Cloud. I love that Marvel shit too. It's good. I love all the good Marvel movies.
Me too. I like all the good Marvel movies too, and I'm a big critic. I'm a critic. When it comes to movies, I'm very picky.
Amy Poehler comedies. Okay. It was called... Okay, like in the movie, she owns a candy shop, and she meets this great guy, and it's like that kind of thing. Amy Poehler, and who's the guy who plays Ant-Man? What's his name called?
Paul Rudd.
Paul Rudd. They came together. That's what it's called. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's pretty funny.
Let's watch it.
All right, we'll watch it later. Explain what role sold her on Kerry Russell. Shaggy said they pressed enter too soon on their last comment. But they shouldn't have. They're withholding judgment still on the Kerry Russell. So in other words, Shaggy Dale's backtracked on the Kerry Russell the bad actress thing and wants you to say what role you think she did a good job.
First of all, I've liked her since she's been on the Mickey Mouse Club back in the early 90s, late 80s. And then she was on Felicity, and then she was on The Americans. She kicked ass in The Americans. I fucking loved her in that. I think she's an INTJ female, and that's also something that I like about her.
Cloud, I'm pretty sure hunger is a third world problem, not a first world problem. Think about it. Was it Felicity? Did you like her in Felicity?
She was good in Felicity. She was very good as Felicity. Yeah, she was very believable.
If you guys are looking for good comedies, Melissa McCarthy is hilarious. The movie Spy is hilarious. I've never heard of the movie Spy, but I will check it out.
I saw it with my parents.
Was it good?
I didn't. I'm not a Melissa McCarthy fan though, so I can't. I'm biased.
Melissa McCarthy needs to not be a lead. She's not a lead character. She's not meant to play lead characters.
Let me put it this way: ESTJ thought it was funny,
Okay.
but without taste.
Melissa's a one-trick pony.
Isn't-
Shaggy Dukale is right. Melissa's a bit of a one-trick pony.
Yeah, she is.
I heard Bridesmaids was good. Did I see that?
Bridesmaids is great.
I don't think I've
Bridesmaids
seen it, but it was pretty good.
That's a really good movie. That's one of my favorites from like the 2010s.
I'd give Hot Rod, which we also saw yesterday, about a 6.
Cool.
I'd give Wet Hot American Summer a 9. And it was, if they just had, if they had let it be 15 or 20 minutes shorter, even though that's normally too short for a movie, I would have given it a solid 10. But they obviously had to reach a certain running time. And
yeah. I like that. You know what I thought was like, it had good side cast too. Like I really liked that the friend group. I thought they were really good comic relief at times.
which one?
In Hot Rod.
And Hot Rod, yeah.
Yeah.
I like the crew as well.
Yeah, like and I thought Isla Fisher was good in it too.
Popstar and MacGruber. The funniest scene in Hot
no,
Rod.
not Popstar. No.
Not Popstar,
No.
says Rachel. Okay.
I saw that. I did not laugh once out loud. No, I'm not watching that again.
All right. Well, we might check out MacGruber.
Yeah.
The funniest scene in Hot Rod, I think, was when they're rolling down the hill and they keep rolling and rolling and rolling and rolling and
Yeah,
rolling.
that was so funny. He's working out. He's like, choo, boo, boo.
Yeah, he's doing this dance and then he starts rolling down the hill. It's like the dance. Hot Rod. Okay, here's the thing about it. That sums up the movie basically. The dance scene is funny at first, then it goes on a little too long,
Yeah.
and it seems to be funny. But then they save it by having him have the dance move turn into rolling down the hill.
Exactly. That's how I felt about it too.
So it's like it's about a 6, maybe 6.5. Not super memorable. There were some moments when that guy, the main guy in it, what's his name?
Andy Samberg.
And Andy Samberg, when his shtick doesn't really exactly work for me.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah. I agree with you.
But I tell you one thing that he was involved in that I liked a lot was the song "The Chronicles of Narnia"
Oh my
on
god, so funny. SNL?
SNL. Yeah, that was
so
really good.
funny. He had good digital shorts, like with the music. He was really good at that, I thought.
Mr. Pibb and Red Vines is crazy delicious is one of the great lines for that. Brooklyn 99. I haven't watched it. Did we talk about that before?
Yes, we had. Delilah watches and she likes it.
It's the Chronicles of Narnia. It's called Sunday Morning or something by Andy Samberg is the actual name of it. Do I like Bromance Song by Niga Higa? I don't know. I will listen to it right now.
I'm a little
I'm going to
nervous.
mute here for a second and we'll see. Yeah, it was totally worth the 2.5 minutes I spent watching it one time. You know, it's. I appreciate having seen it. Good job, people,
Me
for
too.
making it. It was worth watching it one time. You know,
I
it's
laughed.
funny, it's clever. I like it. I like how straightforward it is with its lyrics. Like it just says the things that everybody says. You know,
Yeah,
there's nothing gay about it. Not there's
Gay,
anything wrong with
yeah.
being gay. It's funny. It's good. I like it. I give the guy credit where due. You know, good stuff. But not something I'm ever going to watch again. Okay, I think I'm going to wrap this stream up. Feels like time.
I just was thinking about let's wrap it up.
Or disagree with me. It's
There's
fine.
this Vine, and it's of someone video filming two guys in a hot tub 6 feet apart because they're not gay. I wonder if
Yeah,
that's
well,
where they use their
there's-
social distancing.
Look, there are clear bro rules. Okay, for example, you have to leave a seat between you if you go to the
Yes.
movies or anything like that together.
Yes.
You don't sit right next to each other.
Also, I learned that the rules for dudes in a car. Also, if there's a girl, the girl sits in the front, not the guy.
That's not one of my rules. If there rules around me, it's okay. If it's the driver's girlfriend, she sits in the front seat. If it's not the driver's girlfriend, then probably she sits in the back seat because the driver's bro sits in the shotgun. And probably one of the other guys is going to try to mac on that girl, so she probably sits in the back seat with him.
Yeah.
Whether she wants to be macked on or not, he's gonna, the bros are going to at least facilitate the possibility of that.
True.
Lindsay Lohan, SNL, Hermione. I want to see that thing. Okay, so I'm going to see you guys later, and we're going to do I'm going to make a video here in a little bit with Rachel probably about some cognitive function stuff. I've got some videos that I made with what's his name? That ENTJ guy, my rhinoceros or something. I forget what his name is. Huckleberry. I don't know why I said rhinoceros. There's nothing like a huckleberry.
I
Yeah. Why did I think your name was my rhinoceros? I don't know. I guess it's about the same length of word. I want to edit those and edit some of maybe a video made with Matt as well. But as a consequence, I'm going to say adieu, farewell, bon chance, and don't forget to eat plenty of cheese.